Now we're going to take a look at adding two negative integers, or two negative numbers if you want to call it that. We're going to start with -4 plus -7. Again, I can't stress this enough. For students that don't understand the rules behind why we do what we do, you need to draw the number line out. And that's why we spent the first lesson on figuring out where the integers go on the number line. So we have 0 here, and as we move left, the numbers get more and more negative. -1, -2, -3, -4. So -4 is going to go right here. Now, if you add a negative number, it's like adding debt. Okay, it's like subtracting basically. Adding -7 is the same thing as subtracting 7. You're taking $7 away from your income or your worth or whatever you want to say. In other words, you're removing $7 from your wallet, so you're moving to the left. Since you're moving to the left, you hop to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You end up at -11. Now, think about this for a second. What if we had started at +4 and added 7? We would have ended up at +11. What I'm getting at is when you're adding two negative numbers, the easiest way to do this is to just add the positives and make the answer negative. And that's what we're showing right here. If we were just to add 4 plus 7, we get 11. And if we tack a negative onto it, we get -11. Okay, so here's what it would look like if we had 4 plus 7. And if we made that a negative, we ended up at -11. And so that's the easiest way to add two negative numbers. Make them positive, add them, and then make it negative at the end. And again, the reason this works is, let's say you had $4 and someone gave you 7, then you'd have $11, right? But if you were $4 in debt and you owed $7 more to someone, you'd now be $11 in debt. So adding two negative numbers is the same as adding two positives. The only difference is that you end up with negative. Again, I can't stress this enough, but if you draw the number line out, you'll see that if you start a negative number and you add a negative to it, you can only move to the left. Your answer can only be negative. You're moving further away from 0 to the left. There's no possible way the answer could be positive. Okay, sometimes students confuse this with multiplying two negatives. That's not the same lesson. Here we're adding two negatives. If you start with debt and you add more debt, guess what? You're still in debt. You're still negative. So the gist is, when adding a negative and a negative integer, and it doesn't have to be integers, it could be decimals, but when adding two negative numbers, add the positives and make them negative. So for example, -a, this could be -9, -3, whatever, plus -b, whatever that negative number is. Just add a and b and then make the answer negative. This is the easiest and quickest way to add two negative integers. So we're going to do some together. I'm going to start out with -13 plus -8. All right, and so think about this for a second. What's 13 plus 8? 13 plus 8 is 21, right? Now the rule we said was, since they're both negative, okay, we're basically going to make the answer negative. Again, if you're $13 in debt, so the answer is -21. If you're $13 in debt and you add $8 in debt to that, you're now $21 in debt. In other words, -21. Again, this is the easiest and quickest way to do this. Now, if the rule doesn't make sense to you at first and it hasn't clicked just yet, guess what? You can draw the number line, okay? Students all the time are saying, you know what? I don't know why I'm missing this. Well, you can always draw the number line. The number line's not going to lie to you. All right, here's -13 over here. If we move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If we move 8 units to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we're moving further away from 0, right? So this is -14. All right, and then you can see -15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, -21. For the life of me, I can't understand if you keep missing these problems. Again, the number line doesn't lie. It's easy to draw a number line. It's easy to see as you move left, the number becomes more and more negative. Just like if you move to the right, it becomes more and more positive. But if the rule already makes sense to you, that's why we have these rules. It's easy to just do 13 plus 8 and then add a negative to it. All right, we're going to do a couple more. Let's say we have -1 plus -7. This one's actually a little bit easier. What's 1 plus 7? Okay, 1 plus 7 is 8. And then we're just going to tack the negative onto it, and the answer is -8. All right, rule is very simple. Again, this is adding to negative numbers. Notice the plus sign in between. We're adding, no, I do not want to do that. Okay, we're adding two negative numbers. We're not multiplying them. That's a different lesson. Because this is a plus sign, we can just add 1 and 7 and make the answer negative. All right, let's say we have -100 plus -1. Okay, the reason I did this one is because, like, you might look at this and you might be tempted to move to the right on the number line, right? And put -99. No, it doesn't work that way, right? Again, if you're $100 in debt, if you added +1, then that's true. You'd now be -$99 in debt if someone gave you $1, but you're adding more debt, so you're moving on to the left of the number line. Adding a negative means you're moving to the left. But again, the rule is simple. You're starting, you can add the 100 and the 1 to make 101, and then tack the negative onto it. Answer is -101. Again, that works because you're adding two negative numbers. We're going to do a couple more. We'll do -299 plus -109. Okay, so we got, we might as well just go ahead and see we're adding two negatives, so let's add the positives first, 299 and 109. Now for this one, I'm going to go ahead and actually do this. Okay, I'm going to, whoops, 299 plus 109. I'm going to add the positives, and whatever answer I get here, I'm going to go ahead, since I'm adding two negatives, I know my answer is going to be negative. So let's go ahead and do it. 9 plus 9 is 18. I'm going to have an 8 here and carry a 1 up here. Okay, then we're going to add the 1 and the 9 and the 0, which makes 10. Okay, so I'm going to put a 0 here and then carry my 1 up here. And so now we have 1 plus 2 plus 1, which is 4. So I'm going to have to put a 4 right there. And there's my answer, -408. Again, all I did was I added the two numbers and then made my answer negative. Okay, one more. Might as well do something a little bit more complicated. -950 plus negative, oh, we'll keep it a little simple, -150. Okay, so for this one, we don't actually have to do the long way of addition. 950 plus 150, well, 950 plus 50 is 1,000, plus 100 more is 1,100. So now it's going to be 1,100. And then since they're both negative, again, I can just tack the negative on in front because we're adding two negative numbers. That's it for this lesson. When you're adding two negative numbers, just add the positive versions of the numbers and make them negative. And again, if it's not clicking, the rule isn't clicking, or you forgot it, you can always resort to drawing the number line. There's no reason why you can't draw the number line and see that if you start with a negative and you add a negative, you're moving to the left, your answer must end up being negative. And again, the shortcut is just add the two numbers and make them negative. If you have any other questions about adding negative integers, let me know.